Welcome to Gameplan TV, everybody. I've got a very special guest. The first guest I'm actually having on the episode, and I just thought it would be best that I thought it would be best that the first guest I have is actually the first person that ever told me about cryptocurrencies. A very long time ago, I was super hard-headed, didn't want to listen to him, and only decided to get my act together properly at a much later stage. So yeah, guys, we've got Mr. Tee Busa, and thank you very much for providing us with your time and your expertise in this game. I'm sure whoever's going to be watching this episode will have a lot to learn from you. I've definitely learned bucket loads from you, and yeah, man, thank you for your time. Maybe you could just start like just telling my peoples a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you actually got into the cryptocurrency game.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Wallo, for having me today. I'm always privileged when I get an opportunity to speak with people in regarding cryptocurrency. Yeah, so my name is Tee Busa. My government name is Tebogo. I was okay, let me begin from where I come from. So I come from Katlehong. That's where I was born in the 80s, and spent most of my time, obviously, growing up there, and eventually got into, after school, after tertiary, got into some opportunities in life, and found myself in other places that most people from the township usually don't just go straight into those places. So yeah, so we'll take it as we go in the session. But basically, yeah, I'm from K1, as we refer to it. Proudly born in Katlehong.
Katlehong's in the east, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So Katlehong is
around Thokoza, Sloras. Huh?
Around Guatemala, around there. Or is that
further? No, not Guatemala. Around, our town is Germiston. So it's around Thokoza, Fosloras, Sprayed View. So that is the K-Toss area. That's where I come from. Not too far from the south.
Okay. That's cool. And another thing I think everyone would want to know is, because I've told a lot of people, like everyone that asks me about cryptos and stuff, I always tell them that like there's someone that told me about this, I didn't listen to him, and that's like my only frustration right now. But obviously we can't change in the past, we just have to learn from it. But yeah, I tell most people that there's this guy who kept telling me about Bitcoin for the longest time. How did you actually get into cryptocurrencies? How did you stumble across Bitcoin essentially?
It's actually a funny story. I normally tell people this, is that I got exposed to cryptocurrency or Bitcoin somebody told me about Bitcoin in 2014, and I went and I did my research at that particular time, and it was a headache for me. I just didn't have the time to dig deep into it, and I let go of it. Then in 2015, I came across it again when I got involved with Triple M. And so that is the funniest part, So when I got involved with Triple M, I still didn't know anything about Bitcoin. I didn't even know it existed, until I was inside the program. And in the beginning, I was participating with RANs and being involved with Triple M. And then I discovered that they had a cryptocurrency side to it, whereby you can get involved with Bitcoin. And they also had an international side, which was Triple Global, which only was participating in Bitcoin. And during those days, the returns were 3% per month. But on Triple M Global, it was 100% a month. And it intrigued me at that particular time because I was looking for something I could do online. And once I read through the ideology from the website and the ideas behind it, I got hooked, man. Even when Triple M got dissolved, I I got hooked and I buried myself in the knowledge of Bitcoin and blockchain itself and cryptocurrency. And I fell in love with the whole thing, man. That's where it started for me.
Yeah, I remember the triple M hype and craze and multi-level marketing and people getting great returns. And then I also remember that I think that was the first time when I actually learned about how high level individuals and institutions use media to instill fear in people and get them to act, think, and behave in certain ways, which is essentially what happened with
Exactly.
the fall of Triple M. I remember that time. Um, Another thing I would
Yeah.
like to get to know from you, because I think a lot of people that are like very deep in this cryptocurrency thing, a lot of them sort of have this rival stance towards governments and central banks and just the ruling people, if you will. What do you think about the current situation, like here in SA, specifically with regards to our economy? Do you think it's possible that the South African economy can recover? Because I mean, looking at the way things are right now, we've got, if I'm not mistaken, the highest inequality in the world in terms of the gap between rich and poor. And not only that, but we've got the highest youth unemployment in the world. And we've also got some of the highest taxes in the world. I don't know exactly what number we are with regards to how much tax is being paid. But do you actually see a way out with regards to the South African economy maybe bottoming out and something happening? Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna take a very a hard stance, if I can call it that way. You know, when our parents voted for freedom in terms of apartheid and economic freedom and being exposed to economic sectors that they can be involved in. I think when I look at how far we have came from 1994, in my view, we are in a downtrend. Economy, investments, infrastructure, everything that I'm seeing right now, our currency in terms of the value of the currency. So what I'm seeing right now, we are in a very steep downtrend, and we're going down every term, every year. We're seeing that we're going down and down, and I'm foreseeing that we're still going to be hit by major recessions also in the country because of how our leaders are failing us, especially the youth, in terms of how they have handled finances when it comes to the country itself, hyperinflation, corruption, you can name all of these things, So I feel like as the youth, if there is a youth out there that is still believing in our current government, it is a youth that is very passive, or people that have got something to gain probably from the current government. As you have seen when we've just had our municipal elections, what happened in Johannesburg, people are starting to lose faith in our government, in the people that are sitting in parliament right now, mainly because of the corruption that is happening there. And it is because of that we are seeing the gap lengthening and becoming even big when it comes between the poor and the rich, because there are no programs for the poor, there are no programs for the youth that are out there to make sure that they equip the youth today. I'm planning to do a live stream on Facebook, and my subject would be, is our basic education relevant to the times that we are in now? Yeah. If you look at our education system, I feel like it's stuck. For people to still be learning the same things that we were learning, it even has deteriorated from the time our parents were learning.
Pass marks 30%
education
now.
Exactly. From the days of Bantu education, it has deteriorated. And I look at it now, and I look at what the world is going on, the direction that the world is taking on. And I'm wondering if our education system is going to be relevant in the next 5 years. I feel like we are 10 years back, if not 20 years back. So those are type of things that I think that are still going to see us. I don't see us hitting a bottom and bouncing back anytime soon, but I see us going down and down even more.
So with that hard stance that you have, I've basically got two follow-up questions to that. And I obviously, well, not obviously, but I share a lot of your sentiments, especially with the downtrend. But another thing, I know that you're an entrepreneur, and I am as well. If we are looking at this country and we're seeing that, okay, we're in a heavy downtrend almost from every single sector, how, as entrepreneurs, do you think, what approach would an entrepreneur need to have in order to want to actually build a successful business? Because it's very difficult as an entrepreneur to want to go out there, build a successful business when your potential customers couldn't even afford your product, even if they needed it, never mind wanted it. So I just want to get your thoughts on that, on what you think entrepreneurs should do, or how entrepreneurs should actually approach a situation where you're in a country and everything's going down and tax. The only thing that's going up seems to be tax and corruption.
Yeah, sure. I think I'll refer to what I did, and hopefully other entrepreneurs, depending on the type of business that they are in, because there's different sectors and there's different levels of businesses that people are in. But what I did is I had to adopt way before COVID. I had to adopt the digital space, trying to move my business into the digital, to be more digital, knowing that this is the trend in the rest of the world, knowing that this is where the world is going. So if an entrepreneur can determine where is the Western world is at the moment in terms of business, in terms of innovation, in terms of how they're doing their entrepreneurs, eventually the rest of the world will follow suit. What the West is doing and what the East is doing, So for me, what I did, not knowing that we're going to have a global pandemic, I adopted a digital strategy in my business. I was able to run my business anywhere in the world. I was able to make sure that I don't rely on rent. I don't rely on all these other head fees that you will be having, because it depends. Like I said, it depends what kind of a business you are running. If you are a business that is building supply material, it's hard for you to transform digitally, yes, because you're dealing with physical product that people need to come in and buy cement or building sand or whatever it is, So, but if you are in a space where you are able to transition to a digital way, then I think that's the way that you need to look into.
Okay, and this is obviously this it would probably require an estimated guess, but what percentage do you think cryptocurrencies can actually play with regards to the role in helping the South African economy grow again? Because I know a lot of guys refer to a cryptocurrency as a way to get people who are not banked to actually become banked. I think a lot of people in South Africa don't actually realize. I keep saying to people that we're becoming a two-tier state, but we already are a two-tier state because our tax base is only 4 million people, and we live in a country that has a registered population of 60 million. So if only 4 million people can even afford to pay tax or even have jobs in order to be able to pay that tax, that means the rest of the country is in a worse position. And I know a lot of guys, like the guys at Ripple, Bitcoin, the Bitcoin narrative is that they want to use cryptocurrency in order to allow people who have basically faced so much red tape that they can't actually get into the banking sector and provide some sort of opportunities for themselves. So what role and how much of that role do you think cryptocurrencies will play in helping revive the economy once again?
Look, it will be dependent on many things. It will be dependent on the understanding of a particular country, the understanding what Bitcoin is, what cryptocurrency is, or what blockchain technology is trying to achieve. Because right now, as much as in itself, Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is a decentralized a network, but you will find that it still needs a centralized system in order for it to work properly. Yes. For now, as it's still growing as a protocol, as a technology, it's still growing itself. So it is highly critical for a government to understand that cryptocurrency is not there to bring destruction, but it is there to bring a solution. So the biggest stumbling block right now for cryptocurrency is the authorities, is the people that regulate finances or banking industries and all of that. They're still seeing it as a threat instead of embracing it. You could argue that they're not just seeing it as a threat because they think that it's unsafe, but they're seeing it as a threat because they think that it's going to bring a lot of people out of poverty and lack, you know. So the system, the way that it has been built that it will always be the few that are controlling the finances of the world. It has always been the elite and the few that are controlling everything that is happening in the financial sector. Once comes a technology that allows a random person, a normal person like myself and you, to also be exposed to that power, it becomes a problem to the financial sector or to the capitalists. So it's going to be very important for the world to understand that this technology, number one, is not going anywhere. And since it's not going anywhere, how can we use it to the best of the ability for a particular country, for a particular government, you know? So I think that in terms of percentage, it's still very little right now. It's still only 1% of the people that are involved with cryptocurrency, believe it or not, only 1% in the world. So it's still a long way to go. You know, yeah, we still have a very, very long way to go. Most of capitalist or most of regulatory bodies, they are saying that crypto is not stable. It's too, crypto is not stable. It's too volatile, which is, yes, it's true. But imagine as it's growing, even right now, as we are seeing that it's growing, we can see that especially Bitcoin, it's starting to be less volatile, unlike other markets like crypto, like other altcoins that are around there. It's becoming slowly a way for people to say that this is a store of value. It's becoming slowly that people can see this as means of exchanging for goods, you know. So that's the whole idea. 10 years in the making, but we are still very far. We are still very far. I think in the next 20 years or so, it is when there's new regulations, when governments understand how it works, how they can make it, use it to their advantage. And only then, I think we're going to have bigger numbers in terms of how it will affect economies of the world.
Yeah, because, it seems like a lot of authorities are paying attention to it, not paying attention to it. But also at the same time, you know, I like what you said when you said it's very possible that the governments want to control it because it will allow people who are in a situation of poverty to actually change their situations, and the governments don't seem to like that, and they want to maintain control. I don't know if you've heard about IFWG Group, the regulatory sandbox in South Africa. So it's basically all the financial regulatory bodies in the country have basically formed a group. I think they formed this group in 2018, and their mandate is basically to investigate blockchain technology. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? And then they've got a couple of different series of projects where they're running tests with different entities within the banking sector, as well as within the blockchain sector. And they're just finding different ways to run these tests and see what are the disadvantages and advantages of this technology. But the main problem that I also see is while they're doing this, they're printing all these negative stories in the media about cryptocurrencies. They're banning exchanges from purchasing cryptos that are not in the country. They're doing all these funny things while in the background actually preparing to regulate the technology. So it almost falls in, I think it falls in line with what you're saying. Like they actually fear that the general public could change their situations.
Yeah.
So then if it's like that, what should people do if they understand that, okay, there's a high possibility that the governments actually want to maintain and keep control. Then what are people expected to do?
Yeah. Look, I've been saying this for years, and I've been telling people that there's going to be a time where it's going to be very difficult for you to get into cryptocurrency, because what you're saying, I know very well what you're talking about. I once sat down with my banker, and in confidence, he was telling me that, look, without mentioning from which bank it is, he was telling me that there's a division in their banking sector, in their private banking sector, where there is a group of people that are doing exactly that, exploring blockchain technology, trying to see how they can learn about it and what they can implement, what products they can bring forth in the future, right? So I own one of the exchanges that you are referring to, and I've always had issues and problems with banks, and two major banks have closed down our account, and we are left with one of the banks. And this current bank that we are with now, they called me in about a month ago with a lot of regulations that I needed to comply, I needed to submit, I needed to do this and that. And I was able to do that, and I looked at other exchanges, the very same bank I'm with, they canceled their account. I don't know if they didn't meet those regulations that the bank wanted from those exchanges. So what they are doing in the background is that they're making it's going to be more difficult for an ordinary person to get involved in cryptocurrency space, because I've always been saying that the financial sector is looking on how they can control this industry, so that when you buy a cryptocurrency, exactly what they've started doing now, saying that you cannot buy cryptocurrency into this country and you send it to another exchange to be traded into the exchange. That's exactly they're trying to do now. They're trying to keep the control here in South Africa, because they know that if you take your Bitcoins or your cryptocurrency to another exchange internationally, you are exposed to more liquidity, you're exposed to more coins that you could be invested in, hence giving you a very possible high returns. So it is their way of trying to control what goes out of South Africa, even though they might tell you that it's for the people's protection, to make sure that there's no fraudulent activities that are happening. It's not really that. They can say all of that, but it's not really that. They're trying to make sure that they can control as much as they can how much you can make in this country, so that also it can be taxed, because once you move funds from South Africa to the other exchanges, they don't have control, they don't have jurisdiction that side. They don't know how much you have gained, they don't know how much you are making, hence they don't know how much they're going to tax you. So it is a lot of things that are happening right now, which I think is a very bad move with in terms of our government and our financial sector. On another hand, I'm happy that the decentralization is starting to take off now. There's more decentralized exchanges that are coming into the space, whereby you don't need to have a bank account or whatever. You are purely exchanging cryptocurrencies. So in the future, hopefully, we're going to be seeing Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies being a mode of exchange, where people can buy cars more often, they can buy clothing, whatever you are able to buy today, you can buy with crypto. When that happens, then there won't be a need for centralized exchanges, because we will all be trading in decentralized exchanges where I don't necessarily have to provide any form of documentation and IDs and all of these things, or comply to the laws of a certain country, because this is why cryptocurrency was created, and this is why the blockchain was created, and that's exactly why it's supposed to be and how it's supposed to run.
You said you run an exchange. I actually didn't know that. If only you told me. But what's the name of your exchange? I'll definitely open an account as soon as I'm done here, provided the last bank that you with doesn't.
Yeah, it's called Numi.
Numi. Okay,
cool.
Yeah,
the exchange is called Numi.
Numi. Yeah. Okay, so I'm definitely going to put a link down in the description in the bottom of this video for anyone watching, if they want to also open accounts to that exchange. Yeah, let's also just talk a little bit more about prices and what's actually happening in the cryptocurrency market today. We see there's quite a big dip, and a lot of people on Twitter are the market. The cycles are so crazy to watch. Whenever the market tanks really heavily, everyone starts screaming bear market. And whenever Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything is pumping, everyone's like, Bitcoin, 150K by the end of the year, hey, $500,000 Bitcoin. So I just want to know, what are your thoughts on the market, especially with regards to the cycle, to the Bitcoin cycle? Quite a few guys that I respect in the game, well, I've never met them, but quite a few of them are saying Bitcoin's already topped. And they're not saying this simply for the fact that the price is tanking. They were actually calling this top for quite a while, saying if Bitcoin breaks that last all-time high it did of 63,000, that'll be the last top and we'll go into a bear market again. So what are your thoughts with regards to current Bitcoin pricing, and then obviously for the altcoins and stuff? I personally don't hold any Bitcoin. I haven't held Bitcoin just simply for the fact that the returns, you know, I feel like it's late for me to make any life-changing returns on Bitcoin. So I'm pretty much 100% exposed to all altcoins except Ethereum. I only use Ethereum because I have two cryptos that are built on Ethereum, but I can't even trade out of them because the gas fees are so much. But yeah, just let me know. What do you think about this current cycle? What are your ideas with regards to if we're in a market top, if we're in an extended cycle, if we're going to get a bear market next year or this year?
Yeah, definitely the market size has extended. That's how we are looking at it, and with some of the guys that I also interact with, some of them that I follow, and I'm looking at the chart right now, which you won't see on your screen, but what's happening right now is that Bitcoin, as it has topped at about 68 on Binance, that is on Bitstamp. So yeah, it touched 69 and then started going down, you know. Then the normal market, normally it does top in December. That's the custom that we are used to, right? But there are a lot of factors that are happening right now. Usually when the market reaches its top and it starts to going down, it normally goes down drastically. So it can be either two things. I'm talking about Bitcoin, you know. Yes. It can either be two things, because it could be that the cycle is actually lengthening, and when it comes to Bitcoin, the returns are diminishing. As you can see, if I can compare the previous three cycles that we have had, we'll see that Bitcoin, the returns are actually diminishing. So, but the play that we are having right now is that I'm still not convinced 100% that we have entered into the bear market. There are still some levels that I would like to see being broken if on our way down. And then that to me will confirm that we have actually entered into the bear market. That will actually mean that the cycle has shortened by a big margin. and the returns have also diminished, right? So when I normally refer to the market itself, I like to make the comparison to Bitcoin, because what happens in the market is that when Bitcoin tanks, you will see that all the altcoins, they will actually bleed heavily against Bitcoin. Yes, so hence we are trying to make Bitcoin to be the stable currency that actually the other coins are actually going towards its direction. So what you're saying that you are not holding any Bitcoin, it is true that I'm looking at some of my altcoins I'm holding that I bought in 2020, January 2020. And I look at the gains that I've made, about 3,000%, 4,000%, 5,000%. I'm talking about good projects, you know. Yes. And when you look at Bitcoin from the bottom we had in March of this year, let me pull out my chart and see
the March 2020 lows.
If I can get
the horror lows.
Yeah. So let me just change to logarithmic quickly, and I'm gonna try to go to the low that we had in March.
I think it did a 2,000% gain, if I'm not mistaken, from 3,000 to 60,000.
Yeah. So there it is. There it is. Yeah. So if I calculate the percentage of the price of Bitcoin from then to what it is today, hold on, just want to let you know quickly. It is about 1,700% gains.
Yeah.
From the low in March. Yeah, from the low in March, and which is also the low of the previous, which is the low after the bull run in 2017, 2018. So it was around, it's about 2,100% from that low from 2017 to 2018. Mm-hmm. So Bitcoin, it has done quite 2,000%, you know, compared to other altcoins that have done 6 times better than that, you know. So yes, the returns on Bitcoin are diminishing, you know, but compared to normal stock market and banking industry, you know, you could argue that there is still quite a lot of margins that we are looking at right now. So
it's definitely the best asset class in the world, definitely, in terms of returns.
Exactly. In terms of returns, exactly. So what I wanna do now is that from the top of touching 69 to the bottom that we did on the 29th of, when was it? Hold on, let me switch my chart to a day.
I think it was September. Yeah, I think it was
the 4th of December.
Oh, 4th, okay.
Yeah, the 4th of December, just this low, the low that we are currently in now, the local low. So when I look at that and I calculate that, we are only 39%, about 40% down. It was 40% down. It has gone up a little bit now. It looks like we are going back to that low again. You know, so I know it's very scary numbers when you speak about 40%, you being down of your portfolio 40%. If you are coming from the traditional banking system, you know, that's a crash.
That's a major crash. People have lost jobs. Major crash. It's crazy. That's exactly what
exactly. Yeah, but with cryptocurrency, it's a pullback. You know, that's how crazy the market. That's how crazy the market is. So if you compare that also to altcoins, some of the altcoins that I'm holding at the same time, they are 60% down, 50% down, while Bitcoin went to 39%, and to the current price, it's about 32%. You know, some of the coins are still 50% and 60% down. And so for me right now, when I look at Bitcoin, I wouldn't still be saying that we have entered the bear market. Being in the last 2 cycles that I was already involved in, also especially the last cycle when I was now heavily involved in it, when Bitcoin goes down, it really goes down if you have reached the top. So my thinking is that we will still see Bitcoin gradually going up in 2022 again. The big question is, we see Bitcoin go down 80%, because we know that after a bull market, after a top in the cycle, Bitcoin will go down 80% to 70% without any issues. So most of the guys that are heavy analysts in the industry, they're saying that as Bitcoin is becoming stable, we're not going to be seeing those 80% crashes like we normally do see. Yes, there will be a bear market, but the bear market might not get to that 30%. So, but we can only predict what's going to happen in the future. We don't fully know, and we don't exactly know what's going to play out. So yeah, people are calling out crashes right now. It's a crash and all of that. I'm not panicking as yet. My students are not panicking as yet. We're just having sell orders as we are going down, being filled, and see if we can buy again somewhere at the bottom. So that's what we are at the moment.
So what's your price range for your bottoms? Because I've got a I don't know if you know the Tulip. There's a page that I follow that helps with spotting whale activity with regards to Bitcoin. I don't own Bitcoin, but I'm forever analyzing it and looking at it because I know that it leads the altcoin market. And I've currently got a price. If this 47,000 support holds, then I expect it to sort of be the bottom, but only for a very short term price. But if 47,000 doesn't hold for me and we break 42,000, then I'm gonna go full Bitcoin bear if that 42,000 price mark doesn't hold. So what prices are you looking at with regards to your Bitcoin bottom?
I'm looking at that 42,000 also. I'm looking at that 42,000, which is exactly what I also told my students, that we're going to be watching that level very closely. Yeah. So if Bitcoin breaks below 42,000, then we know that we might be going down. So there's other algorithms that we are using also in terms of the Bitcoin fair value right now. If we were to be in the bear market right now and we go bottom, all the way bottom, so my BTC value right now, it would be, Bitcoin would be down to about from the top of 69 to about 62% down to the price of about $25,000 or so. So I will see that as the bottom, and Bitcoin will start going back up. The reason I'm saying also that I don't believe that we are already in the bear market is because historically, when you look at the price of Bitcoin from the top, when it goes down in the bear market, it usually doesn't go below the previous high. So the last high was about $20,000.
Oh, right? In terms of all-time.
The last high was $20,000. All-time high. It was $20,000, right? And the previous one was about $1,200 or so. And when Bitcoin bottomed out in 2018, it bottomed out to about $3,000. It didn't go below that 1.2, 1.3. Yes. You know, so right now, my calculation as the fair value, I'm looking at Bitcoin going down to about $25,000. I don't expect
the previous all-time high
going below 20,000. Yeah, the previous all-time high. So that's historic. That's what has been happening in the history. So, but we'll get to see. So I share your same sentiments. 42,000, it's a critical zone for me. And if we break below that, then we have to rethink where Bitcoin is going.
Okay. Now enough about Bitcoin. So I don't even own Bitcoin. No, I'm talking about Bitcoin. Let's talk about some altcoins. I'm going to start off. Everyone on my channel knows, like, I'm a super big XRP fan, but I must admit it's the most frustrating digital asset cryptocurrency to hold. It's extremely frustrating. I've even got a lot of my XRP locked up, so I don't even have access to most of it. But then I've got a whole
Yeah.
bunch of other cryptocurrencies that I love. I love the ISO 222 tokens. Your Algo, your XLM, IOTA, XDC as well. And which one am I missing? I think I've got all the ISO coins. So tell me a little bit about the altcoin projects that you really see doing well within the next couple of months. I do think we're going to get a major pump definitely before the first quarter ends. In the first quarter in 2022, before that one ends, I definitely think we're going to get a major pump. But tell us about some of the altcoin projects that you're interested in, and what type of returns you're sort of expecting in the near future.
Yeah, I can't tell you more. I can't tell you all about the projects because my students who pay me for my content will kill me.
Okay, that's perfect.
But yeah, yeah. So,
gotta
but when I look at yeah. But when I look at some of the solid projects that I have been looking into, Cardano being one of those, their coin being ADA, being one of those projects that I think that are still gonna be giving us some good returns. I'm 5,000% in profit when it comes to ADA. So I'm looking at the development of what they are doing. I mean, the price of ADA has tanked quite heavily, which presents an opportunity for people to still get involved if they thought that the price of ADA was way too high. I mean, the price it's currently now 61% down, and which for me would present a very good opportunity for somebody that would like to buy the coin and still hold it for the next few months or even years, depending on how the bear market will play out. You know, there has been projects in the previous bull markets that never made it out of the bear market coming into the new era, because there has been just huge developments in the new tokens that we are seeing today. So if a project ceases to develop and people lose faith in that project will not make it in the next bull run after the bear market. It's not gonna come through. One of those projects that were very big in 2017, 2018 was Litecoin, which is LTC. And when the owner of the project sold his coins, I saw no reason why I should, exactly. He dumped his own project. So I saw no reason why I should be investing in LTC. And there's still a lot of people that ask me till today about LTC, and I tell them I'm not invested in the project. I have no interest because the developer himself, didn't show any interest in growing the project. So if you look at the price of LTC from 2017, it still hasn't broken its all-time high that it did back then. So why should I be invested in such a project? So it will be critical for people to do extensive research to understand that a coin might be pumping right now, but it could be a coin that won't be there in 5 years from now. So I tend to look for coins that will be there in 5 from now. I know Bitcoin will be there. I know Ethereum will be there, so those I know that they will be there in the next 5 years. But I'm looking at coins like ADA that I think that are extremely doing well even right now, that will be there in the next 5 years. I'm looking at coins like Chainlink that I think that they continuously develop their protocols, and they're gonna be there in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I saw Chainlink just got one of the old Google guys as part of their team. I think the chief technical director for Chainlink was at Google. He's a very high-level guy at Google. I did see that. With regards to Cardano, I had Cardano. I think I had a whole bunch of Cardano in and around at 50 cents. And then I sold all of it when it would hit about $1.30 for more XRP. I also heard you made a comment like Litecoin hasn't hit its all-time high yet since making the run. A lot of the cryptos that I'm in have not hit all-time highs yet. And I've basically used other cryptos that have pumped to get more in on those simply for the reason that when it's off season, everything just seems to pump. And I think there's still major opportunities and coins that haven't hit all-time highs yet. But at the same time, you are still definitely at the risk of a coin not getting out to its all-time high if there isn't enough activity, if there isn't enough belief within that coin. One of them definitely is XRP. How do you feel about this case with the SEC and Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and XRP still has not hit that all-time high yet, even though usually most of the time it's the last coin to go when it comes to a bull market and signaling the end of a bull market. But what do you think about this whole SEC case with the Ripple guys?
Yeah, you know, XRP, I was a big fan of XRP in 2017. The biggest stumbling block with XRP is people not understanding what the coin is meant or the protocol is meant to do. And when people heard the word banking industry, that XRP is working with the banks, they said, no, we don't want banks. That's what back in 2017. That's the reason we got out of banks. We don't want banks, you know. Yeah. At that time, there was still little knowledge from people understanding what these coins are all about or coins are going to be doing. So yes, there's been a big case with the SEC in terms of Ripple. And there were good sentiments a few months back, it looks like XRP is going to win the case against all of these things that are happening. And I think that the reason that they went to it is because of how it was structured. It was tapping with an industry that is being regulated by your normal financial sectors and central banks. Yeah. You know, and they started looking into it and how heavily it was invested in the US specifically, and how many people also were using it. Financial institutions were using it in the US. So it got exposed to that sector in the US, and the probing began, you know, with the SEC. And, you know, once SEC says we are investigating, there's a major fight that happens. Yeah, and a lot of people panic, and they think that, we need to come out of this, you know. I saw XRP, I haven't looked at its price quite in a long time, but after the bottom in May or May this year, when we hit that crash in May this year, I saw that it was starting to pick up. So I don't know what's happening right now with the particular coin, but even the SEC update, I'm not too sure where they are, if there has been any release that's happening right now with XRP.
I've been following that case quite closely. There was also something that was happening a couple of months ago, because I was also like, this XRP thing is frustrating because majority of my portfolio is in XRP. At one stage, 90% of my portfolio was XRP, and I had the other 10% spread across 18 different projects. But now it's a little bit smaller. Only about 40% of my portfolio is in XRP. But the case is just, it's a mess. It's a whole mess. And they keep prolonging things. They definitely the SEC does look very bad in the case. Forbes just released an article about how the public actually needs protection from the SEC and not the other way around. Also, Fox News did an investigative paper, but I definitely do think in the long term that they definitely will win the case. If you also pay attention to what's been happening this year, I mean, Ripple have been signing deals all over the world with different central banks, different financial institutions, in order to get them to use the XRP ledger. and facilitate these different cross-border financial payments. Our very own regulatory body, IFWG Group, there were two tests that we did with two companies. The one is Mercury FX, and that was for cross-border payments. It was through to the UK. Was it the UK, if I'm not mistaken? The other company was Zago Technologies, and with them, it was also specifically for XRP. So I was like, okay, there's cases and stuff, but why would the South African financial regulatory bodies run tests while there's a case going on in relation to XRP? Doesn't make sense. And I just think, once again, it's that control. I think they actually know exactly how powerful XRP is, and they don't want the general public to have access to it. It was one of the best performing cryptos in 2017. And I think it's going to be another showstopper again. It's just they're really making us wait. And I'm definitely not going to let go of that project because, yeah, I've poured a little bit too much in to let go at this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the financial regulation is absolutely crazy. I think we need more qualified guys. Maybe if we can even get an audience from some of these guys so we can have a conversation with them. Because a lot of people are thinking about building businesses on this technology. And if we don't get regulatory clarity, it's going to be very difficult to innovate and to grow and just make the situation a lot better for ourselves. I don't know if have you thought about actually building a business on the XRP, not the XRP ledger, but actually on any blockchain platform. Have you thought about what business you would want to build? Are you currently working on something like that?
Yeah. I've thought about it, and I've been thinking about it since 2017. I just had a personal project that got on the way, which finally completed this year, which was one of them was building my house. So it really drained me. It took a lot of my time. For 3 years I was building. So and I couldn't concentrate really much into all the things that I want to do, but I am opening up myself now into starting to see what projects can I actually start to partake. And I've actually spoken to a few guys that we are looking into creating some things in the space of the NFT.
Okay.
So what happens even right now, the reason I was speaking about Cardano, why I'm really loving it even right now, the mere fact that the previous co-founder of Cardano is Charles Hawkins, which was the co-founder of Ethereum. Sorry, he was the co-founder of Ethereum and moved on now to doing Cardano. And there's a lot of exciting things that are happening within the Cardano space even right now. So we're looking into the just also move
smart contracts.
Exactly. So I'm looking into seeing that how can we position ourselves being there, mainly because of the scalability that they are having, the fastness of the blockchain, the transactions, the fees. You know how crazy the gas fees are with Ethereum right now. Yeah. But there are other chains like Binance Smart Chains, Solana, even Chainlink. There's many chains that one can look into. But I'm really starting to really like what Cardano, the approach that Cardano is taking, and I'm looking into seeing that if I can do some projects there and see what will happen in terms of those projects.
Okay, that sounds amazing, because I've also got quite a lot of. I've been trying to speak to my friends about doing this stuff because they are creatives. A lot of them they're in the entertainment industry, rappers, singers. They shoot music videos, things like that. And I've also just been trying to think of ways of how can we get these entertainers to get onto the blockchain space and to actually formulate their businesses there. because things are very difficult. You know, you've got the record label issues, not knowing how much your song was played, where it was played, how much you owed for it, and what split needs to go. I really think digital smart contracts, it doesn't matter what blockchain they use, whether they want to use Cardano, Solana, Terra, uh, XRP when the whole Flare thing goes. But yeah, I definitely think it's possible for them to utilize this space and just take back some of the ownership that's been stolen from them for an extended amount of years. Mr. Busa, it's been amazing to have you here. I am seeing the time. So
yeah,
really appreciate having you. I hope this is not the last time, because obviously we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. And since you're keeping all the juicy information from us and keeping it for your students, I'm gonna have to have another interview, another conversation with you, see if we can squeeze out a little bit more from you. But thank you so much for your time. To everybody out there, if you guys want more gems, more facts, more world-class dot connecting, stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and yeah, to many more. We're going to grow the space, grow the community, and shout out to being the first guest, as the first guy that ever told me about cryptocurrency. Definitely, will always appreciate you for that, you know. And yeah, thank you for your time, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, and great shout to your audience. And guys, make sure that you follow Wallo. I know whatever he does, he digs himself into whatever he's doing in terms of knowledge-wise. So you are in good hands. So yeah, appreciate you, man, for having me.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Cool.
Cool.